The realm. Do you know what the realm is? It's the 1,000 blades of Aegon's enemies. A story we agree to tell each other over and over till we forget that it's a lie.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back for my Game of Thrones Season 8 Episode 4 trailer breakdown video. Now that the Battle for Winterfell is over, it's time to set our sights on King's Landing and the Iron Throne. As you all know, Jon and Daenerys are suffering from a loss of heavy casualties after fighting the Army of the Dead. What was once a massive force of soldiers has now been reduced to most likely only a couple thousand, and they might not even have that many. It's hard to say as of right now, but it's no secret Jon and Daenerys need to gather new alliances before they go for the Iron Throne next. At the beginning of the new trailer, we can see some of the aftermath of the Battle for Winterfell. Everyone is gathered in front of the Stark's castle as they say their final farewells to some of their closest friends and allies. It will be a very sad day because some of those characters have been here since the very beginning of the show. Not only did Jon and Daenerys lose thousands of their soldiers, but Winterfell also suffered from that battle. As of right now, the castle still stands, but it will need some major renovations made before it starts to look like it once did. Based on some of the other images from the trailer, it does look like we will get some new scenes inside of Winterfell, but I highly doubt they will use that location as their base of operations. Daenerys and Jon will eventually take all their remaining forces down south so they can set up shop as they get ready to take the Iron Throne from Cersei Lannister. Before they do leave Winterfell, they will hold a gathering in the same location where we saw Jaime knight Brienne. You can see all the same Stark sigils right behind Daenerys, as we did when they had that amazing scene of Jaime and Brienne. It looks like they may be celebrating their victory over the Army of the Dead. Now that Daenerys has shown she will sacrifice her men and dragons to save the North, maybe she will start to get their respect. However, even if they do, that will not be enough to take over King's Landing. This next photo also looks like it could be in Winterfell. That looks like the same library where we saw Arya hiding from some of the Whites during the battle. Here we have Daenerys, Missandei, and Varys. Now it may be very hard to notice in this photo, but some of those markers on the map look like they could be Krakens and even a Baratheon Sigil. As we all know, Yara Greyjoy went back to the Iron Islands, but it's hard to say if we will ever see her again or not. The one I find interesting the most is the Baratheon Sigil. Now, as far as we know, Gendry is the last living Baratheon in the current story. When I first started making videos before Season 7 even started, I always said I thought we would see Gendry get legitimized before the end of the show. If you go back and look at the main logo of Game of Thrones, there has always been 4 major houses. That is, of course, House Stark, House Targaryen, House Lannister, and House Baratheon. I really don't see Jon, Daenerys, or whoever letting House Baratheon go extinct. Now, they might not legitimize Gendry until the very end, that way it doesn't complicate things in terms of who has a claim for the Iron Throne, but I could see them finding some extra allies because of Gendry. Now that Gendry and Arya are continuing to have a relationship, they might start to utilize Gendry in some other ways besides making weapons for the battle. Now take a look in front of Varys. You can see that he has been communicating already. Finally, Varys might become a player again. We know that Varys and Tyrion Lannister shine their brightest in King's Landing. Now what's interesting is, we do not see Tyrion Lannister standing next to Daenerys in any of these council meetings. I do wonder if Missandei said something to Dany about what Tyrion and Sansa were talking about in the Crypts of Winterfell. If you remember, Tyrion made a comment about how him and Sansa should have stayed married. That could come back to bite him in the ass. We shall see where that goes, because in the other photo, Dany does not look very happy at all. That does look like that is Varys standing behind Dany. Maybe that's when she finds out about what he said in the Crypts of Winterfell. As you all know, I still fully believe Tyrion will eventually betray Daenerys before it's all said and done. In some of the other images, we can see they start to mobilize their army before the end of the episode. Here we can see Sansa Stark watching as they fix the castle, and the Unsullied get ready to head back down to Dragonstone. Unfortunately, it does not look like they will be getting any vacation time as of right now. Things are just getting started. As Sansa is standing up here, she also gets another look at Dany's dragons. Now look at the wings on Drogon. You can see there are several holes all over them. Like I said in my last video, that should have Dany a little concerned. They might not be able to survive another battle. Now maybe they aren't as bad as they look. Dany does seem to be fairly happy in the other photo. She is obviously looking at Rhaegal, but I'm wondering if maybe Jon is riding him at that time. I will be interested in seeing how Jon and Dany's relationship goes from here on out. Now that she knows they are related and Jon has a claim for the Iron Throne, I do wonder if they will stay romantic or not. Here we can see Jon Snow and Davos getting ready to leave Winterfell. The last time we saw these two ride off together like this, it was when they went down to Dragonstone to meet Dany for the first time. I imagine that happens at the same time Sansa sees all of the Unsullied starting to mobilize their men. They are most likely heading to Dragonstone like I said, or they could also be getting ready to go find some new alliances before they reach Dragonstone. Dany should still have her ships down at White Harbor. They will most likely travel down to there, then make their way to Dragonstone to get ready for the final battle for the Iron Throne. Now I think this battle could become a lot more interesting than some fans may think. Now let's go see what Cersei Lannister and Euron Greyjoy have been up to since we last saw them. So far we have only seen them in the first episode of the season, so I imagine we will get a lot of Cersei and Euron scenes next episode. In the new trailer, we can see right over Cersei Lannister's shoulder. It looks like she is having everyone get behind the castle walls in order to stay safe during the battle. Now we all know Cersei does not give a shit about the citizens of King's Landing. There is a very good reason why we see Cersei letting them inside of her gate. Once again, Cersei will begin to spread her propaganda about Daenerys Targaryen. We saw her begin to do this last season when she was trying to get some new alliances of her own. Listen to what Cersei says about Dany in that scene.
But House Tyrell is in open rebellion against the crown. With their help, the Mad King's daughter has ferried an army of savages to our shores. Mindless, unsullied soldiers who will destroy your castles and your holdfasts. Dothraki heathens who will burn your villages to the ground. Rape and enslave your women. And butcher your children without a second thought.
So as you can see, Cersei will want everyone in King's Landing to be afraid of Daenerys Targaryen, her dragons, and her foreign army. Cersei will want everyone to see Daenerys as a monster, and Cersei will be their savior. But we all know that's complete bullshit. This isn't the only reason why Cersei wants all of the innocent behind her castle walls. Cersei also hopes this will stop Dany from releasing her dragons on the Red Keep. Surely Daenerys will not burn down the Red Keep if all these innocent lives are behind the walls. Only a psychotic, fire-loving dragon rider would do something like that.
And when she grew bored of that, she fed them to her dragons. It is my solemn duty to protect the people, and I will, but I need your help, my lords. We must stand together, all of us, if we hope to stop her.
This will work in Cersei's favor for several reasons. Not only does she look like a queen that cares, but they will also be her protection because as far as we know, Daenerys would never attack the Red Keep when so many of the innocent are there. What they should realize is, if anyone is about to burn down King's Landing, Cersei is just as likely to do that as Dany's dragons are. I hope they don't forget what happened at the Sept. I'm sure everyone in King's Landing was whispering about that event. Did you hear about the Sept of Baelor? Cersei's a fucking psycho. I imagine most of King's Landing assumes Cersei had something to do with that. Now there is always another way Cersei and Euron may try to bring everyone together, by getting married. We can see Euron Greyjoy bend down on one knee in the trailer. I have always said we could see this happen eventually. Not only does Cersei need to keep Euron by her side because she really doesn't have many other alliances right now, but as we all know, Euron Greyjoy wants other things besides what is between Cersei's legs. In one of the sample chapters for George R. R. Martin's next book, The Winds of Winter, Euron Greyjoy's brother has a vision where he can see Euron sitting on the Iron Throne. It also seems like Cersei Lannister is standing by his side. So if they continue to follow the books, I think there is a very good chance we could see something like that happen. Euron Greyjoy is one sneaky son of a bitch. Now hopefully most of you saw my last video I released right after episode 3 was over. I talked about how they could get to Cersei Lannister if she refuses to come outside. There are some secret ways to get into the Red Keep without anyone knowing you're there. Arya Stark found this out all the way back in the first season. She knows there is a drain system that empties right out onto the Blackwater Bay. If they are not able to burn down the Red Keep or get Cersei to come out, they can always send their little assassin on a Black Ops mission. Not only does Arya Stark know about that, but so does Tyrion Lannister and Varys. They once had a map of the underground tunnels right below King's Landing.
The map you asked for.
Must be 20 miles of tunnels beneath the city.
Closer to 50. The Targaryens built this city to withstand a siege.
So I am very interested in getting to see how they take care of Cersei Lannister. Now that Jon and Dany lost so many soldiers during the Battle for Winterfell, Cersei has a really good chance of holding them off for longer than we might think. Not only do I believe there is wildfire under the entire city, but I also believe Qyburn will have several ballistas made to set up around the Red Keep. If I were Cersei and Qyburn, I would have ballistas aiming in every single direction. No matter which way Daenerys brings her dragons, there would be a ballista aiming in that direction. You have to remember, Dany's dragons are still injured from the Battle for Winterfell, so it might not take that much more to kill the rest of them. Now in this next photo, we can see Cersei and Joran standing outside. It looks like they are looking out onto the Blackwater Bay. I think this might be when they can see Jon and Daenerys heading their way. They might try to negotiate one more time, but as we all know, this will never work. Cersei will not give up the Iron Throne no matter what they offer. If I were Jon and Dany, I would show her no mercy. Cersei already lied about sending her soldiers to help them fight the army of the dead. She was hoping the Night King would kill all of her enemies. I would make her regret that decision. No matter what happens in the next episode, I think we will eventually see King's Landing burn. They have been foreshadowing this since the second season. Regardless if Cersei lives or dies, Dany's dragons will attack the Red Keep very soon. Let me know what you think happens in some of the upcoming episodes. Anyways, I want to thank you all for watching the video, and I also want to thank everyone for supporting the channel. I hope you all have a great day. I'll see you again very soon. Bye.